Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading lots of slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 22 and 23. So text number 26. Following the instructions of the great sage Jaigishavya, Visvaksena compiled an elaborate description of the mystic yoga system. From Visvaksena, Udaksena was born, and from Udaksena, Balata. All these sons are known as descendants of Brihadishu. So especially this 9th canto is filled with all the genealogical tables. Somehow I guess it's purifying to hear all these names. Later as we get along down closer to the 5,000 years ago, we'll recognize some of the names. So we just go on listening. Text 27. The son of Dvimira was Yavinara, whose son was Kritiman. The son of Kritiman was well known as Satyajiti. From Satyajiti came a son named Dhridanemi, who became the father of Suparshva. Text 28 and 29. From Suparshva came a son named Sumati. From Sumati came Sanatiman. And from Sanatiman came Kriti, who achieved mystic power from Brahma and taught 6 samhitas of the Prachyasamana, verses of the Samaved. The son of Kriti was Nipa. The son of Nipa, Udgrayuda. The son of Udgrayuda, Shemya, and the son of Jaina, Suvir, and the son of Suvir, Ripunjai. Text number 30. From Ripunjai came a son named Bahurata. Prumita was sonless. Ajamita had a son named Nila by his wife known as Nalini. And the son of Nila was Shanti. Text 31 and 33, 233. The son of Shanti was Sushanti. The son of Sushanti was Puruja, and the son of Puruja was Arka. From Arka came Bharmyasva, and from Bharmyasva came 5 sons: Mudgala, Yavinara, Brihadvishva, Kampila, and Sanjay. Dharmyasva prayed to his sons, "O my sons, please take charge of my 5 states, for you are quite competent to do so." Thus his 5 sons were known as the Panchalas. So that area, I'm just assuming that must be Panchal Desh, huh? It's just a little bit south of here. Between here and Kanpur, there's Panchal Desh. From Mugala came a dynasty of Brahmins known as Modgalya. Text number 34. Mudgala, the son of Dharmyasva, had twin children, one male and the other female. The male child was named Divodas, and the female child was named Ahalya. From the womb of Ahalya, by the semen of her husband Gotama, came a son named Satananda. Text number 35. The son of Shatananda was Satyadriti, who was expert in archery. And the son of Satyadriti was Saradwan. When Saradwan met Urvasi, he discharged semen which fell on a clump of saragrass. From the semen were born two auspicious babies, one male and the other female. So somebody's descendant of grass. And last sloka of chapter number 21, number 36. While Maharaj Shantanu was on a hunting excursion, he saw the male and female children lying in the forest, and out of compassion he took them home. Consequently, the male child was known as Kripa, and the female child was named Kripi. Kripi later became the wife of Dronacharya. So now we're getting some names we've heard before. Everyone knows Maharaj Shantanu, and everybody knows Kripacharya and Kripi, who later became the wife of Dronacharya. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of 9th canto, 21st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Dynasty of Bharat. So now we begin chapter 22 of 9th canto. The descendants of Ajamita. This chapter describes the descendants of Divodas. It also describes Jarasandha, who belonged to the Riksha dynasty, as well as Duryodhana, Arjuna, and others. The son of Divodas was Mitrayu, who had 4 sons, one after another: Chavana, Sudas, Sahadev, and Somak. Somak had 100 sons, of whom the youngest was Prishata, from whom Drupad was born. Now another name we know. Drupad's daughter was Draupadi, and his sons were headed by Dristadumna. And we know this also. Dristadumna's son was Dristiketu. Now we're getting names we know. Another son of Ajamita was Riksha. From Riksha came a son named Samavarn, and Samavarn came Kuru, the king of Kurukshetra. Kuru had 4 sons: Parikshi, Sudanu, Janu, and Nishad. Among the descendants in the dynasty from Sudana were Suhotra, Chavana, Kriti, and Uparichara Basu. The sons of Uparichara Basu, including Brihadrata, Kushamba, Matsya, Patyagra, and Chedipa, became kings of the Chedi state. In the dynasty from Brihadrat came Kusagra, Rishab, Satyahit, Puspavan, and Janu. And from Brihadrata, through the womb of another wife, came Jarasandha, who was followed by Sahadev, Somapi, and Shrutasrava. Parikshi, the son of Kuru, had no sons. Among the descendants of Janu were Surata, Bidurata, Sarvabhauma, Jayasena, Radhika, Ayutthaya, Akrodana, Devatiti, Riksha, Dilipa, and Pratipa. The sons of Pratipa were Devapi, Shantanu, and Balika. When Devapi retired to the forest, his younger brother Shantanu became the king. Although Shantanu, being younger, was not eligible to occupy the throne, he disregarded his elder brother. Consequently, there was no rainfall for 12 years. Following the advice of the Brahmanas, Shantanu was ready to return the kingdom to Devapi, but by the intrigue of Shantanu's minister, Devapi became unfit to be the king. Therefore, Shantanu resumed the charge of the kingdom, and rain fell properly during his regime. By mystic power, Devapi still lives in the village known as Kalapagram. Interesting. In this Kaliyu, when the descendants of Shoma, known as the Chandravams, lunar dynasty, die out, Devapi, at the beginning of Satyug, will re-establish the dynasty of the moon. The wife of Shantanu named Ganga gave birth to Bhishma, one of the 12 Mahajans. 2 sons named Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, and now more names we know, were also born from the womb of Satyavati by the semen of Shantanu, and Vyasadeva was born from Satyavati by the semen of Parasara. Vyasadeva instructed the history of Bhagavatam to his son Sukadeva. Through womb of the 2 wives of the maidservant of Vichitravirya, Vyasadeva begot Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons headed by Duryodhana and 1 daughter named Dushala. Pandu had 5 sons headed by Yudhisthira. Each of these 5 sons had 1 son from Draupadi. The names of these sons of Draupadi were Prativindya, Srutasena, Srutakirti. All right. Shatanika and Srutakarma. Besides these 5 sons, by other wives, the Pandavas had many other sons, such as Devak, Gatotkacha, Sarvagata, Suhotra, Naramitra, Iravan, Bahubrahan, and Abhimanyu. From Abhimanyu, Maharaj Parikshit was born, and Maharaj Parikshit had 4 sons, Janmejaya, Shrutasena, Bhimasena, and Ugrasena. Next, Sukadeva Goswami described the future sons of the Pandu family. From Janmejaya, he said, would come a son named Satanika, and following in the dynasty would be Sahasranika, Asvamedaja, Asima Krishna, Nemi Chakra, Chitratha, Suchitra, Vristiman, Susena, Sunita, Nrichaksu, Sukinala, Pariplava, Sunaya, Medavi, Nripanjay, Durva, Timi, Brihadratha, Sudasa, Shatanika, Durdaman, Mahinara, Dandapani, Nimi, and Shemaka. Sukadeva Goswami then predicted the kings of the Magad Bumps, or Magad dynasty. Sahadev, the son of Jarasan, would beget Marjari, and from him would come Shrutasrava. Subsequently, taking birth in the dynasty will be Utayu, Niramitra, Sunashatra, Brihatsena, Karmajit, Sutanjaya, Bipra, Suchi, Shema, Suvrata, Dharmasutra, Sama, Dyutmatsena, Sumati, Subal, Sunita, Satyajit, Viswajit, and Ripunjaya. I'll take a little water here, that's long. Headache. I mean, this is one of the 10 characteristics of a Purana, is it must have genealogical tables, so we're getting all that right now. So chapter 22, the descendants of Ajamita, text number 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, the son of Divodas was Mitrayu, and from Mitrayu came 4 sons named Chavana, Sudasa, Sahadev, and Somaka. Sumaka was the father of Jantu. I think we'll just skip to because the description practically is the same. What verse do we have to come to? There's one tiny little purport here to text number 14 and 15. Because the king was able to make everyone happy for sense gratification, primarily by the touch of his hand, his name was Shantanu. Once, when there was no rainfall in the kingdom for 12 years, and the king consulted his learned Brahmin advisors, they said, "You were faulty for enjoying the property of your elder brother. For the elevation of your kingdom and home, you should return the kingdom to him." Purport: one cannot enjoy sovereignty or perform an Agnihotra Yaga in the presence of one's elder brother, or else one becomes a usurper known as Paribeta. So Shantanu, he took over the kingdom despite the presence of his elder brother. So there was some problem we just read about. Anyway, now we finally come to text number 20. Bira. It's written there, right? Yutagranir Yena Rama Api Yudi Toshitaha Shantanor Dasa Kanyayam Jagye Chitrangada Sutaha Virayutagranir Ramopi Yuditoshita Shantanor Dasa Kanyayam Jagye Chitrangada Sutta Birayuta Agrani Bhishmadev, the foremost of all warriors. Yena, by whom? Rama Api, even Parsuram, the incarnation of God. Jai Sisi Gauri Jai Krishna Balaram Sisi Radha Shamsi. Yudi, in a fight, Toshitaha was satisfied when defeated by Bhishmadev. Shantano, by Shantanu. Dasya Kanyayam, in the womb of Satyavati, who was known as the daughter of a Sudra. Yagye was born. Chittangada, Sutaha, a son. Bhishmadev was the foremost of all warriors. When he defeated Lord Parsuram in a fight, Lord Parsuram was very satisfied with him. By the semen of Shantanu in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of a fisherman, Chittangada took birth. Translation, please repeat. Bhishmadev was the foremost of all warriors. When he defeated Lord Parsuram in a fight, Lord Parsuram was very satisfied with him. By the semen of Shantanu in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of a fisherman, Chitrangada took birth. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Satyavati was actually the daughter of Upachari Basu by the womb of a fisherman known as Matsyagarbha. Later, Satyavati was raised by a fisherman. The fight between Parasuram and Bhismadev concerns three daughters of Kasiraj, Ambika, Ambalika, and Amba, who were forcefully abducted by Bhismadev, acting on behalf of his brother Vichitravirya. Amba thought that Bhismadev would marry her and became attached to him. But Bhismadev refused to marry her, for he had taken the vow of brahmacharya. Amba therefore approached Bhismadev's military spiritual master Parasuram, who instructed Bhishma to marry her. Bhismadev refused, and therefore Parasuram fought with him to force him to accept the marriage. But Parasuram was defeated, and he was pleased with Bhishma. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Swapadandikam Aradhanastrinandantai Vridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance and the eyes closed shut, but my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore I offer my humble obeisances at his lotus feet. So I guess it's very interesting reading all of these different genealogical tables, but it was nice to get down to some names that we start to recognize, Kripi and Kripa and Duryodhan and etc. Here we have some very interesting genealogical table. Because there was some lady was there, I'm just forgetting her name, Adrita or something like that. And she was cursed to become a fish in a river. Somehow, Uparachari Vasu, he was the type of Vasu who traveled in the sky, Uparachari. It's like Upari, above. Somehow he discharged semen which fell into the river and was swallowed by the fish. And one fisherman, I think he gives the name here, no, it doesn't give the name. So that fisherman, he caught the fish, and when he cut it open, he found that there was because that fish, by swallowing the semen of Uparachari Basu, became pregnant. When he cut open the fisherman who cut open the fish, there was a male child and a female child. So because this was very interesting, he offered them to the king. And the king accepted the male child, but the female child, she smelled like fish. So he returned. She became known as Matsya Gandhi. This fishy smell. Wonderful name, huh? How'd you like to be known as Fishy? So she became known as Matsyagandha, Fishy. So she has a very interesting history after that. That all connects with Braj. The parent, I guess this fisherman must have been in Braj, because what happened was one time Parasara Muni came. And the fisherman he also did boating. people across the river. So fisherman wasn't there, Satyavati was there. So she offered to take Parasar Muni across the river. While they're crossing the river, Parasar Muni, he had his astrology program loaded up, and he realized this is a most auspicious time. Any child engendered at this time will be very, very powerful rishi. So he proposed to Satyavati and explained to her how it wasn't our dharma for them to unite. And she said, but there's so many rishis and munis doing their bhajan on the edge of the banks of the river here. They'll be disturbed by our activities. Of course, she accepted that what he said was right, but she wanted to test. So then he made a cloud and he made an island in the middle of the river, the middle of the Jamuna. And he united with Satyavati and produced Srila Vyasadeva, who immediately was born. This is like digital baby, you just you click the picture and the picture is immediately there, like old days you had to click the picture, then you had to take it to the film studio and get it developed and it came out. But this is like immediate, like a digital picture. Immediately child was born, and by his mystic power he returned her virginity. So he was darkish and he was born in the middle of on an island in the middle of the Jamuna, so he became known as Krishna. And because he was born on an island, Krishna Dvaipayana, from Dweep, Dvaipayana. And later became known as Vyasadeva. So anyway, by his mystic power she remained a virgin. And Parasar Rishi was kind upon her for allowing him to engender the great soul sage Vyasadeva. He blessed her that she would become very perfumed. So from this day she became known as Kasturi Gandhi, smelling like a musk. And she perfumed the air around for many, many kilometers. So one time Maharaj Shantanu was in the forest and he smelled this fragrance and he was completely enchanted by this fragrance. So he followed it till he met the fisherman. And he saw that fragrance was coming from the fisherman's daughter. So then he begged that fisherman that you let me marry your daughter. The fisherman was very clever. He said, my daughter can marry you, but then her son has to become the king. Now, Shantanu, he already had one son. Because one time, there was 8 Vasus, headed by one Vasu named Dyo. And they became enamored of Vasistha Rishi's Kamdenu cow. This cow is always causing trouble. Everybody. Viswamitra also got attracted so many times. So these 8 Vasus, they stole that cow, so Vasistha Rishi, he cursed them that they would be born as human beings on the earth. Then they fell at his feet and they begged forgiveness. And he said, I've already uttered the curse, but anyway, they will all come back very quickly except for the one who was the leader of the group, Dyo. Since he instigated the whole scene, he would be, the others would just take their birth as humans and immediately return to the heavenly planets. But Dyo would have to remain. So Ganga Devi, she thought, took compassion on them, said, I will become your mother. So she married Shantanu, but she married Shantanu on the condition that he would never criticize her. Anything that she did. This is an extremely difficult vow. Made more difficult by what follows. We can't imagine, because married life is always filled with so many arguments. There's two words in Sanskrit. I don't know much about Sanskrit, but there seems to be connection between two words. One is vivaha. You know vivaha. Vivaha means marriage. And the other word is vivad. Argument. So somehow there must be some connection, because after vivaha comes vivad. So anyway, she gave birth to 7 sons, and as soon as they were born, she immediately took them to the Ganga and dunked them in the water and drowned them. But he had taken a vow that he would never criticize anything that she did. He had to bite his tongue and just tolerate. So 7 times this happened. When the 8th child was born, he just couldn't tolerate it anymore. He said, "What are you doing? Why are you killing my children? I can't stand this." And she said, "But I told you, if you criticize anything I do, then I'm leaving." So, and then she explained to him all about the 8 Vasus and the curse of Vidista Rishi, and then how she liberated them from that curse. They returned to the heavenly planets, but this last son, whose name was Devavrata, he would remain for his whole life and become very, very famous. So then she went back to the heavenly kingdom, and she took Devavrata with her and kept him for 16 years. Now another piece of this pastime also takes place here in Braj, because in Braj there's one place called Shantanu Kund. After we come from Bahulavan, right? Next is Shantanu Kund. It's a very interesting kund. It's in the shape of a moat. You know, moat around a castle, they always, or a fort or something, is always a body of water. So it's a round kund, and there's a big hill, and for long distance around you can see this big reddish dome. This is temple of Shantanu Bihari. And the pujaris there tell that Maharaj Shantanu actually performed penances for 60,000 years. So sometime before all this happened, he performed penances for 60,000. This is what they say anyway. Although people in Dwapar Yuga live for 1,000 years, but somehow that's what they say. So at the end, Lord Krishna appeared and said, "What do you want?" He said, "I want a son just like Balaram." And Krishna says, "Nobody like Balaram." I can't give you anyone like Balaram. But I'll give you a very powerful son who will be able to leave his body at his will. So Devavrata became his son. So Ganga took him away for 16 years. After 16 years, she returned him. He was very expert, very powerful warrior, very handsome, very strong and powerful and loyal. All good qualities were there. So when Shantanu fell in love with Satyavati and found out that he can't marry her unless her son becomes the king. He said, how can I do injustice? I always have my son Devavrata. So he became very morose. We know in these situations of the heart, people become very, very depressed. We call love sickness. So Devavrata noticed that his father was very depressed, showing all the symptoms of love sickness. So he asked him, "What's the matter?" So he explained. So then Devavrata, he went to the fisherman and he said, "I relinquished my claim to the throne." The fisherman was very clever. He was a simple fisherman, Shudra, but he was very clever. He said, "But your sons, may make some claim to the throne, and there will be fight, and my son will be killed. So then Devavrata took a vow in front of everyone, that I vow that I will remain brahmachari throughout my life. Now this for a Kshatriya, because we know Kshatriyas, they used to have several wives. We read about it in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. This was terrible vow. So all the demigods began to cry, Bhishma, Bhishma, Bhishma. Bhishma means terrible. Just like even in Hindi, sometimes there's a big accident on the highway and it comes in the newspaper, Bhishan accident. And everybody was killed in both cars. And it means terrible. They all crying, terrible, terrible, terrible. So he became known as Bhishmadev. So later it explains here that then Shantanu was free to marry Satyavati, and they had a son named Chitangada. So is there any questions or comments? There's not much to say. This is... Yes.
So that first time some description we go that if a farmer treated for 1 month Kartik before came Krishna there, he was expecting that the son that he went there wanted to have a very handsome, qualified son. For that purpose he came to that particular place and for farmer.
For Kartik?
Kartik.
The Pujari told me 60,000 years when I went there.
And they were taking bath every single day. That it is still in the brother. If someone has known some woman, some childless, still in Kartik tradition they go and take for the king. The karma also when we go, many Mataji, if they have no son or if they want them to qualify, then we will take Kartik.
Any special day or Kartik Purnima? Or?
That I don't know, but whole month, I think the whole month, Kartik month.
Yeah, I forgot about that. This temple is very famous. If you're unable to get children, then you can take bath, especially in Kartik. And they have a big list in the temple of people who succeeded in getting children after taking a bath there.
Mercy of that deity.
Very beautiful deity, very tall Santanu Bihari, and very short Radharani is there. And big, it's very interesting, it's the only kund we see in the form of a moat. It's all around, there's a big staircase that goes up to get to Shantanu Bihari.
And about Ganga Devi, she was also cursed
Yeah.
to become like human nature. And first of the very celebrated king was Mahakrishna, Krishna. So he went to the heavenly planet. But after putting the body, he was in Mahakrishna assembly of demigods. Brahma was also present there. So many demigods were coming in the assembly hall. Mother Ganga also came. But what happened that by the wind blew and her upper part was starting to swell. So every single demigod they closed their eyes because Ganga was almost naked, half naked. But this king who had ascended from our three planets, Mahavishnu, he was looking right in front of her. And then Brahma could not tolerate. They cursed the Mahavishnu. You again returned to our three planets. And curse also Ganga. How come you dare to use the alert? Such a you should dress nicely and should pick right, not the way in hand. So this is also wrong in your part. You also go there. When the 8 Vasuki were cursed, then they requested, Mother, we don't want to accept any ordinary human mother. So please be our mother. She also said, I should go there on our planet. This way, of course, Bhishma, the last one, on 7th year, now killed at the river.
Anyway, these are all very, very interesting genealogical. This is the most interesting part of the genealogical table. So.
I'm not saying that Mahapishra was first. He became Parthipa, the father of Santanu, the Parthi. So since Ganga was very much attracted, so Ganga came and he was performing austerity. Parthipa was in trance in meditation sitting, and Ganga Devi, she was very much attracted to him. So she came and almost half naked, she sits on the thigh of Parthipa. And then when Parthipa came out of meditation, he saw that Ganga Devi was right, sitting on the right thigh. And she requested that I want to maybe please accept me as your partner. Said Parthipa, that's a baby, you have done a great mistake. The right thigh is the place for daughter and left one is for wife.
Yeah.
So you made this, you are like almost daughter-in-law. No way I can marry you, but for my son, he will marry you. So this is very confident.
That's
So Mahabharata described very nicely how this understanding.
Lilakar?
Thank you very much. I was trying to find this verse, but it seems like nothing difficult to find it. Anyways, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the class. It was outstanding and agreeable. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. In relationship to this one Mataji who was killing her children, and then the husband saying that I promise not to interfere with that. I think he said that, but at the same time you find in the purport, in the Bhagavad-Gita, something to the extent of Srila Prabhupada mentions about when the circumstance seems too extenuating or extreme, then no one can be bound by their promises. I'm not sure. I'm trying to find a verse, but I read that somewhere, that if the situation becomes too extreme, then no one can be bound by the promises. So the question may be, not necessarily for me, but at the same time, others could question that here we have apparently a devotee. Why would that person, that his wife, kill so many children like that?
He was so attached. That was the whole thing. He was enchanted by Ganga Devi and he agreed to become her husband, but on that condition. And she kept it. Anyway, it's all part of the Leela. This is all Bhishma Dev's appearance. Previously people were Kshatriyas, especially a Kshatriya can never go back on his word. Yes?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class.
I just read.
Is there any, you spoke about Shantanu Bihari and Radharani in the temple? Shantanu Bihari and Radharani. Is there any pastime between Shantanu and Radharani?
Not that I know of, just they established a temple because that's where Shantanu performed his penance and austerities. It became known as Shantanu Kun. So they established the deities as Radha Shantanu Bihari. Because Shantanu was worshipping Krishna there, so doing his austerities. But I don't know any other pastime with Radharani and Shantanu Bihari. I know that Krishna and his friends used to come there and play in that circular lake. There's a whole, if you come in to Shantanu Kund, then there's a path all the way around, the complete opposite side of the Kund, then there's a bridge. And you go across that bridge and there's a big long staircase all the way up to the temple. And the government's put a railing in the middle of the staircase, so like Maharaj said, there's a big mela there where everybody comes to take bath and get children, so they had to put a railing so that the people going up and the people coming down don't clash with each other. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll put our voice to rest here, and we'll all fall down to the very soft and wonderful lotus feet of that great personality who's translated all of these wonderful pastimes for us to understand. Srila Prabhupada ki.